Hello everyone, and welcome to my first journey into the Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree. This is a RL87 Faith Arcane build that I showed off in the Day 1 invasions, and I just wanted to show off effectively some boss battle highlights where I can, this is also a little bit for myself so I can talk about the strategies I used so that way I can plan for a low level run in the future. So the Black Gel Knight is kind of like a big wake up in like walking in the amount of damage everything you can do the uh, because you don't necessarily have the Shadowlands blessings yet, which have really good AR bonuses and damage negation bonuses, and I'm still using Radigan's Sword Seal. So the strategy that I used to take this guy down, even though has a ton of poise and hyper armor, and you can't summon because you can summon players, but I was not able to summon Oleg for this guy because this guy's a big jerk, and Oleg wanted in on the action. So I started off with a poison claymore. You could probably use really whatever great sword of your choice because it can break his hyper armor, especially when he is one-handing the great sword that he has. And I just started with poison to start whittling him down. And now I'm using an occult scythe because quick step is really nice to have, and there's decent blood buildup, decent damage, good damage, and most importantly, it breaks his poise from most attacks. Here I'm kind of just I've got some bleed bolts to try and just speed up the process a little bit. However, his crossbow is a bit better than mine. I don't know how to get his crossbow at the time I'm recording this, but it will be interesting to see that one. But yeah, so this is the first boss that I had, and I have a large amount of runes because I'm just like, oh, I can just walk past all these birds and other stuff and just into this tomb. It'll be fine. And this guy's here being like, are you sure you want those runes? You're not even leveling up. What are you going to do? And I'm just like, I need a lot of smithing stones for DLC weapons to fill out the arsenal. So as you're slowly dying to poison and more quickly dying to bleed, please fork over some more runes. Yeah, so I think this, in the amount of damage that he does, is going to be ridiculous to deal with at low level. But I think in combat, Shadowland Blessings plus Ritual Shield Talisman will hopefully take care of that. And there are potentially some other talismans and things that I can use from the DLC to help make this fight a little bit easier. But I think this strategy should translate pretty well. It'll be a little bit more work, but I think it should be fine. Yeah, so here is roughly the final part of this fight, where I just need the one last bleed out and he's done. And this guy absolutely gets the point down, just like doing squats next to Gideon because he's a big jerk. Now here, excuse me, here's one of the little highlights of just being in a campsite and what my arcane build kind of does to clear things out, because the enemies here are no joke, and the Black Steel Great Mace has just been one of my favorite weapons. Later I substitute Prayerful Strike on it rather than Sacred Blade, but overall this thing just chunks damage and does a really good, amazing amount of work. Having Dragon Breath to kind of just clear that part of the camp is incredibly useful. And of course, though, I go to the other side and I'm going to die horribly because there's a giant squad of perfumers over there. However, because this was adapted from my RL13 build that I took through Beat the Game and beat Millennia with, I have the Sacred Relic Sword, which is going to help me immensely, at least in this first part, because this bridge is just really cool. And clearing these areas is non-trivial, so I want to... My goal is, even though it might not be as cool as a boss fight, I want to show off some of the things like how you can prioritize which enemies to go for first, what talisman and weapon swaps are useful, when to summon, and if you're solo and some using spirit ashes, so that way you can make your journey through the DLC a little bit easier. Yeah, and then here I changed over from the Drake Knight set to have the Pants of Solitude, Greaves of Solitude, because they just go pretty well with the all-knowing armor. Now that those guys are gone, I can bring in Oleg to deal with the perfumers, because without if they were still there, Oleg would either get distracted and would take potentially a ton of damage. So here I just have an Occult Flamberge with Lion's Claw. I'm doing it for the hyper armor and stun because there's just so many perfumers and enemies over here that not having the hyper armor is really bad, because although they don't do a ton of poise damage, if you have 5 perfumes hit you, they can well, the hyper armor gives damage reduction, and it will also ensure the attack goes through if I didn't just use Dragon Breath on a giant line of perfumers and have Oleg clean up, refill my blue juice, and then rinse and repeat, because in the overworld you get flasks back when you clear areas of enemies. So absolutely no mercy, just burn through your stuff, and of course offhand forked hatchet, which I absolutely love. I'm also really excited to test out the perfume weapons, because this is just really interesting and cool rewards. And now you all know it, Moongroom 2.0. If he isn't a boss, I know he's not an actual official boss, but if this guy isn't in the boss compilations for destroying Tarnished as they journey through, I don't know who should make it, because this is it's a cool fight. It is not an easy fight. Again, I'm using Quick Step Scythe for combination hyper armor damage and a very nice move set. It's really unique that his Ultra Greatsword has the can do the glint blade stuff. That's really cool. And I started the fight specifically with Frost Breath, even though I have access to Rock Breath, because of the burst damage, and then while Moonrathil is afflicted by the ailment, he'll take more damage from the scythe. So I garnered that I would do more damage overall with the Frost Breath than Rot Breath in this particular case. So, but similarly to the Black Jail Knight, a lot of this is be smart, use try and let them finish the attack cycle, and then go for poise breaking attacks. Don't try and trade into the colossals, even though I kind of did. Be patient, heal up, get hit for a lot of damage, and then recognize that I have a spell that pancakes, and that spell specifically is Dragon Claw. And even though there's a really terrible recovery time after the second one, and I think you can roll out of it, roll catch. Kind of, I think he was about to go into an animation, but he died. I trusted the AI to be not very smart, and it worked. Now here is the first remembrance boss that I ran into, Renala, the Twin Moon Knight, where she's using dual light greatswords in semblance of Pontiff Sullivan. Here I'm just going straight for the rot breath to try and make sure that she's inflicted with rot, and because I know phase 2 is going to be a little bit more rough, and she has the burst damage to completely eviscerate and murder Oleg. So having passive from the rot breath here is very important, and it will come up at the end, because Renala has a lot of attacks, a lot of long combos, and that means that I have fewer opportunities to spam the Duvia interface. So pay attention to Oleg's health bar. Oleg's health bar is currently, well, was around half. Now Oleg is dead. Bye, Oleg. Thank you for your contribution. I get a bleed out. I notice the scarlet rot, and I will employ the very ever brave tactic of run away from the rotted boss until they die. Yup. That's how I beat Renal on my first DLC playthrough. I'm inflict her with scarlet rot and then run away. But yeah. And now here, to wrap things up, is the second remembrance boss, the Dancing Lion. And don't worry, we'll get a Quaglin fight in next time. So I will say, and also this guy has like the well, not like that creepy opening cutscene, but just like walking in and then having him adjust his jaw. Like I'll like cut out the cutscene, like I watched it, but just having him do like the jaw adjustment, like, oh, gross. But here I brought in Redmane Freya because she said she could hold her own in a battle. I wanted to test that theory, and as I am testing out new fashion, and so I brought in Oleg. Here I'm kind of just testing to see what like the debuff does, and it's not that much. So I'm just like, all right, that's not really working. So we'll go back over to good old Reduvia. And of course, who needs to aim when I can take up half the arena with Bloodboon Ritual? Yeah, Spirit Summon, the DLC is by no means easy, but Spirit Summons the Shadowlands Blessings, and yeah, you can make it a little bit easier for yourself. I'm very fortunate that Oleg is tanky, and Redmane Freya is also very tanky, so I can kind of just eat a bunch of damage to my face as the lion is just spinning and going all over the entire field, and just spew dragon breath and Reduvia at them to some quite wonderful music listening back to it. Yeah, this DLC has been a blast. I absolutely love it. I love the new weapons, I love the new bosses, I love the challenge. Like, it's been an absolutely amazing, fun experience, and I don't regret going in with just like you know what, the DLC is gonna throw everything it has at me. I'll throw everything I have in my power at the DLC. So spirit summons, NPCs, blood loss, like it is all part of the game, and just have fun. That's why we play games. And there, the black flame burn of the and the and my friends carrying me through to victory. So thank you. I hope you're enjoying these bosses. I know it's not as challenging as low level. But I think it's still cool to show this stuff off and how different builds can tackle the problems. So have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!